Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Layman's Growing. Today we are going to be going over cheap and simple grow setups, and later in the video we'll get into a little bit more expensive things that you can do to increase your yields. First off, you are going to need an inline fan. This is just, again, for decent buds. So an inline fan is going to replace the air, replenish the CO2 inside of your grow housing, your grow tent, your grow room. This here is a 6-inch. This is probably the most common one used, and then this is a 4-inch, which is only really good for maybe a 2x2 area. We connect it with silver ducting, and we usually put the fan on top of the grow room. Next up, we have a fan. The fans are only for jostling around your leaves a little bit. That'll promote real good stem formation and stalk formation, and that way you get a real good channel going to suck up those nutrients and give them to your plants. It'll also lower mold problems. We just connect ours on the corner and it works just fine. Next up, we have a can filter. Can filters will scrub the air and make sure you don't have any stank leaving your room. And this size works perfect for our tent. It might even be a little big, but that's alright. And you connect it to an inline fan, and again, you normally have it on top. That way it can suck out all the heat of the room with it. Air pumps, starting from 3 or 4 watt over here, and we move all the way up to a 35 watt. Air is something you should not slack with in a hydroponic medium. This is for your bins. I do recommend this. The 35 watt pumps out about 800 gallons an hour of air, and it's really good. It's cheap, 35 bucks, and it'll make your plants way more healthy. Don't get the cheap stones. These stones right here will be eaten in an acidic solution, so try to go for something like this or anything that's like air diffusers, but generally the higher grade ones are what you want to go for. Next, we have a pH meter and a ppm meter, along with a microscope and a thermometer. The pH and the ppm meter are going to be your most important steps. So as long as you have those, you'll be able to keep the growing solution that you're using in the proper ranges so your plants can absorb the correct amount of nutrients that they need. Next up, we're going to have lights. CFL lights are probably going to be in the medium cost range to start with, but to run them, they're going to be very cheap, including the reason that they give off very little heat. This one that I'm showing you is an 8 bulb. 2 switches. One switch does 4 bulbs in the middle. The next switch does 2 on the outside, so you can adjust how much you want to run and where you want that light to be. This one also has 2 hangers, easily set up, and again, a very low heat option. Great for vegging your plants and great for all around if you want to go that route too. Next up would be high pressured sodium or metal halide. Both these lights require a hood. This is an air vented hood, so you attach vents to the north and south side, or those 2 open holes, and it'll suck the heat out from the light. These produce the most heat, but they also are the cheapest to get started, especially when you go used. Also, they are the most intense light, but because of that, again, they produce a lot of heat, and they also need an extra piece of equipment called a ballast. This ballast is also very heavy and also produces a lot of heat. They do have other ones on the market, but again, this is the cheap one. If you're going with an expensive grow setup, I do recommend you go with LEDs. They do have cheaper LEDs on the market nowadays. This one is actually a fairly expensive one, top end, very nice light that I use. 750 watts, and it puts out around 1200 watts, or it's comparable to a 1200 watt HPS, and it puts out a lot less heat, and I love them. I'll leave a link in the description below. Easy to set up, easy to hang, but again, this is around a $2,000 light. They do have cheaper lights on Amazon and wish.com that you can try out. I do recommend a 5-watt or higher diode. Next up would be an AC unit, preferably a portable one. You can direct the AC very well that way, and you can run pretty efficient. This one right here keeps our room at a perfect temp, and that'll also increase the bud size. This is going into a little bit more expensive, but increasing your yield. This is what it looks like from the outside, so it's still a little inconspicuous, and it is fairly easy to run and set up. Next up, we have humidifiers. This is going to keep your humidity at a really good rate. I can go farther in another video, but if you are looking to grow the best, you are going to want one of these. This is a CO2 tank. If your plants get more CO2, they can withstand more heat, and they can also produce more flowers. So this is definitely a great thing to have, and you will need a regulator with it, and that is what's attached on the side there as shown. So that sums it all up. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, hit the like button, or comment down below with any questions or anything you would like to share. Links in the description for everything I mentioned in the video, and obviously those links are going to be hopefully the cheapest places for you to get those items. Take care, hope to see you guys again, and have a nice night.